Hello, hello. Let me just get that fixed. Alright, how are we all doing? Let me just turn the volume up. Yes, here we are. We're live and direct, aren't we? How are we doing? Thank you to those of you that have joined me so far. If you have, welcome to the stream. Thank you for jumping in. Of course, I've got my nice Christmas hat on. I hope you're feeling jolly already, perhaps. And yeah, I mean, good time in the market. Fantastic pump up yesterday. Do let me know if you caught the pump up. Did you trade it? Was you long and prepared for a pump up? We got Florin, first like. Yeah, do make sure you drop a like, of course. Get your likes going. It's massively appreciated. Regman, mate, you must be ecstatic with ETH, obviously. Not majorly, not majorly up just yet, is it? But obviously back above your entry, I assume. And yeah, obviously really good for you, mate. So I bet you was absolutely loving it yesterday, seeing that push up. Are you even still in it, actually? Maybe you got out of it the other day, because obviously we did go all the way up to around here, didn't we, before we dumped down on Monday. I'm at break-even point almost, hoping for some more from here. Yeah, very nice. Waldragons. I don't know how to say your name, sorry. I shorted yesterday. Did you? Well, I hope you had a nice stop loss in place. I hope you had a nice stop loss in place, mate. Say, shouldn't you be in Manchester? Yeah, I'm not going to make it, Hugo, unfortunately. I'm not going to make it today. Yeah, to be honest, I completely forgot about it. And then I've got some stuff on after work, which I'd planned, because I completely forgot about it. But have a good time, mate. No doubt you'll really enjoy yourself. I know you're doing little side quests, aren't you, in different countries? I hope you enjoy it, mate. You'll have a good time with Wiz regardless. Still in. Fartcoin starting to pump. Yeah, Fartcoin. She's been showing some really good signs, and it actually didn't really move yesterday because it had already moved. It already moved when basically the market didn't do anything, didn't it? Which we'll take a look at. I had a break even there on 28th, and then I got thrown down to -30 again, and then back up. Yeah, it's this ping pong region, isn't it, that Bitcoin's doing. If we go and have a look at the 4 hour or something, just something wide, you can see we are just literally just ping ponging out. We were just ranging, and obviously we've got demand down here. Obviously we've put in a higher low, so you got demand down here, but then quite clearly, in and around 93, 94, we've got big resistance around the yearly open. So just ping pong, just bang 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 bang. So we'll see obviously what happens next. Technically we are at resistance, so you would say that we've rejected so far. That 4 hour candle wasn't very nice there at all. That's one of the candles that you typically look for at the top of a rally for a reversal. May not come, because at the end of the day it is just a candle, not 100% certain. But we are just in a range, and obviously at the moment we are in resistance. What I would say as well is we took out all this liquidity, didn't we, on the way up? We took out all this finally. So this has obviously been growing since the middle of November. But as you can see, with the peak on that wick there, we obviously come and cleared this. We cleared this, which we actually I think we pretty much left that behind on this one. We didn't quite take it on Friday. And then, yeah, we come and cleared out this as well. So in terms of, liquidity, we've grabbed a fair amount of liquidity there. Obviously, what's next would be a move into here. So obviously this build up here, and where we found resistance. So kind of, looking at these, this area of liquidity here, kind of 96 to 97 would be next if we get above the yearly open and hold above there. But at the moment, obviously, we are at resistance. Someone mentioned Fartcoin anyway. Let's take a look. Yeah, Fartcoin's really interesting because, this got hammered, didn't it, down into here, which I foolishly didn't put any alerts on for. Very foolishly didn't put any alerts on for. But yeah, obviously, had a really strong push up, you know, 2x. And then, you know, pulled back. Obviously, Monday, everything got crushed. But then this already reversed. You know, this basically already reversed, didn't it? You know, Tuesday there, you know, yesterday, come midday, before Bitcoin had even started running, Altcoin had already had a monster push up all the way back up towards 40 cents and has pulled back since. So definitely are interesting signs there. I mean, this is what happened last time, isn't it? You cast your mind back to when we bottomed in March, April time. This year, obviously earlier this year, Altcoin was kind of the first one to run and ran very hard. So it does seem a bit of like decorrelation with the market at the moment, which maybe is a good thing, maybe is a bad thing. Pengu also had a fantastic run. I mean, that had just a crazy 4-hour candle. That was just a bang laser beam on it. Personally, what am I doing? I'm actually short at the moment. Because, you know, technically we're at resistance, and I looked at it this morning. I thought we cleared out a lot of liquidity here, and we're just having these fast, thin moves here. So personally, I'm sure, and you know, my invalidation is that if we start climbing above the yearly open and hold above, then obviously I'm wrong. What I am looking for is, particularly on the 5-minute, is for a red background to come in on Stonksy. That's what I really want. I would like a 5-minute red background on Stonksy to kind of confirm my thesis, which would be very nice if we got one. At the moment, we are just kind of, we're just kind of hanging around, aren't we? So we'll see what we get anyway. We'll see what we get. What have we got here? Perhaps I should look at stepping out if I get some more and get back in with a better entry. I mean, anything can happen, can't it? I suppose it just depends on what side of the fence you sit on. It depends whether you think we're going to continue to range, if you think we're going to maybe rally up higher leading into Christmas. Maybe you think, obviously, I know you don't, Reg, because obviously you wouldn't still be long if you did. But, you know, obviously there's maybe a lot of people that think we go clear out the low, maybe go into the 70s, 60s. But I don't really want to fade it because it feels bullish at the moment. Definitely. I mean, what's interesting is that move yesterday basically come from nothing on TradFi, because the S&P basically didn't really move that much yesterday at all. So that move was basically just, you know, a crypto solo move. And what I think I'm correct in saying anyway, and we'll just verify it with Grok before I obviously confirm it, is I believe that the flows on the ETFs yesterday were basically kind of around break-even / low inflow. So what obviously that tells us is that move yesterday come from inside crypto. You know, it come from the exchanges, it come from market makers. Let's see. Let's see. Let's ask Grok. What were the flows yesterday? So yeah, there was only 58.5 million in net inflows yesterday. So, you know, fairly low. You know, that's fairly low, isn't it? So the fact that we only had 50 net, a net of 58 million yesterday. So obviously, you know, very low. You know, there's a lot of outgoings, ingoings as well to tip it positive for the day. But obviously that tells us that the move yesterday came from inside crypto. You know, it came from exchanges, it came from market makers, it came from wherever, you know, it could have possibly come from. But it wasn't institutions and TradFi driving it. It was solely inside crypto, which is very interesting when you think about obviously what's been going on recently and the fact that crypto can't really get going, even though TradFi has been fairly strong itself. You brought some Dutch pancakes. Oh, mate, you brought some Dutch snacks for me. Mate, you're making me sad now. ETH looking like breaking out. Well, the thing is, I think from here, DXY looks like it's dropping below an area of support. I don't think the DXY has even touched my kind of area of interest in terms of regaining any high time frame support. I don't think. We'll have a look anyway. I haven't looked at it for about a week. But one of the ideal situations here in terms of alts would be either Bitcoin, keeps its strength and maybe slow grinds up, or it gets to a level like this or a level from higher up and just gives stability where it just holds still, and we can get some sort of maybe mini rotation, because that's still a possibility. If Bitcoin stays steady here or pushes to 96, 97, maybe even to 100, and just can kind of hold steady for a week or 2 weeks where, we just get some ranging, but obviously from higher up, that maybe is a prime condition for obviously some rotation into ETH Sol to give some sort of kind of quote unquote mini alt season into Christmas. Now, obviously, it's not going to be the big alt season that people want, but you could see a week, 2 weeks where Sol, ETH, and then obviously leading down the ladder really gain strength over Bitcoin. Bitcoin dominance drops, and we get some kind of resurgence on altcoins, maybe 10-20% move while Bitcoin remains flat or flattish. So that is definitely a possibility and something, that I'm looking at as a potential. But apart, we are technically at resistance. So today is going to be a really key marker because we haven't really done anything, have we, for the past few hours? Asia, US market yesterday, and then obviously followed into Asia for peaking up towards 94, was strong. And then in London, we've just got sideways. So the question is, because this move was very fast as well. Now, if you look at it on the way down, very fast as well. So, this was bound to get filled in at some point. It just so happened that it got filled in just as fast. So what you can kind of tell with looking at this as well, you can see it on this move here as well, is that this area here, kind of between round about 88, so about 90 and a half-ish, you can see it here as well. You can see it here, you can see it here. Price moves very fast in this region. You can see how fast price is moving in here. So obviously that's a highly a liquid zone for Bitcoin, and a place where it can be pushed very fast, very aggressively, with minimal resistance in terms of buying or selling. This whole region here, if you mark it out, obviously really since this point, Thursday the 20th, this whole region here has been very illiquid for Bitcoin, and obviously a place where the price can just be pushed through up and down very easily and very fast with minimal, kind of resistance on buy side or sell side. So there's obviously a reason for that. And it's, it's being used as a place where obviously price consolidates, bait shorts, rip it up. Price consolidates, bait longs, rip it down. Price drops down, consolidates for a little bit, rip it back up. So it's being used as a region where basically the exchanges and the market makers can just have fun, really, I think, and obviously use it to, because all they're doing at the moment is just, the driving liquidations, the driving stop losses, aren't they? They'll be making bank, and it's basically around this region here, this kind of 88 to 90 and a half K region where price is just moving very fast, very illiquid, and very thin as well. So we'll see obviously what happens with that, but yeah, very interesting, very, very interesting. I think the market as a whole is still very interesting as well. Like Bitcoin, we've had some, it's been a blessing and a half. If you like volatility, which obviously as a trader, you probably do, the kind of past month and a half-ish has been very good for volatility, both sides, if you're obviously able to long and short. The volatility has been there, and it keeps getting, pushed through where, for quite a while, we've had these points, haven't we, where volatility just dries up and Bitcoin trades in a very small range. Where at the moment, we are just getting frequent volatile moves. We've not really had Bitcoin dry up that much at all. Where it goes maybe a week trading a couple of K range. We've not had that for a while. So hopefully long may that continue. Of course, volatility, good for gains, good for trading, as long as you're on the right side of it. But yeah, I think that's, that's really what's key. Good morning, my good friend. How are you doing? So yeah, definitely keep an eye on that. And, we could just continue to range here. we could definitely continue to range. It's possible. And obviously, this is your marker, in my opinion. You know, this is your marker, this zone here. Basically, just reclaiming yearly open and then just above, because obviously you want to make sure it gets above. So from here on out, I think it's very straightforward, because you have, let me go to a higher time frame. You know, you have a key marker here where, you know, if price gets above and holds, it may not even give time to test the holding. It may just move through very quickly. But basically, this would kind of be my next area of interest. And you know that that's coming if price gets above the yearly open and holds. But at the time being, we've swept liquidity. We're in an area of resistance. So then, you know, we could just drift all the way back down. Price could just keep moving seamlessly here and here. It could even come clear out them lows. It could even come and clear out the 80.6k low. And we'd still technically be in a range, because, you know, this could just continue doing this potentially until the end of the year. It's definitely not out of the question. But, you know, next on the liquidity list would be this build up here to the left hand side. This has all been cleared out. That's been cleared out. So next up on liquidity would be this to the left. But the question is, you know, does it go for it now? Or does it maybe continue just to wreck people in this range? And as you can see there, you know, just this highly illiquid couple of K region here where price just moves in basically 1 4-hour candle. You know, you can see it there, can't you? Just basically 1 4-hour candle up and down until it reaches a point of where the order book is more filled, you know, here and here. So, yeah, quite interesting. Let me know if you had noticed that, or if not. But I do think Bitcoin's moving very, very interestingly at the moment, and it's actually, you know, days like yesterday is interesting because it shows that regardless of obviously how big the ETFs have got, and regardless of how involved TradFi has got, it shows that, you know, crypto involvement, crypto figures, you know, whether that be exchanges, market makers, or just whales themselves, you know, whales may be working together. It shows that they still have a good grip on this market, despite obviously the size that the ETFs have grown to. Because, you know, yeah, like we covered, you know, if you missed it yesterday, the ETF flows were only 58.5 million of inflow. So, you know, basically for Bitcoin, that's just like a drop in the ocean, and it just very small. So it shows obviously all this push up yesterday and overnight was brought in by in-house, in-industry participants. The demand came from inside crypto itself, not TradFi. So it does show, you know, regardless of what's happening in TradFi, regardless of how big the ETFs have got, crypto itself does still have a strong hold on the market, and exchanges and, you know, market makers and, you know, big participants may not have lost control yet. Scotty says, do you see Sui dropping lower? We'll cover Sui because I think it's had a good move, hasn't it? I think it got listed on Coinbase, or an area of Coinbase. I covered Sui, didn't I? We looked at Sui. It had an initial good pump, and then I think it pulled back, and then it's just gone up in a straight line. If it goes up some more, there are a lot of shorters to liquidate. That would fire it up. Yeah, I think it would probably, if it found acceptance above here, I think it would probably move in this zone pretty quickly. I think if it got acceptance above the early open, I think kind of like what we got yesterday, it would just move in this zone quite quickly, because, yeah, obviously shorts would start to get squoze, and this area is prime for going and grabbing liquidity. So it's just whether it can obviously foster up the strength to go and grab that. Now, I don't want it to, because I will confess my stop loss is 94.6. so you'll know if I get stopped out on my short or not. My entry is just below 93k. So not a bad entry, to be fair, I don't think. And my stop loss is up here, basically just giving some clearance above this high. So you'll know if I get stopped out if price reaches 94.6 today. But yeah, because obviously that's kind of the line in the sand, getting above here in acceptance. I may even manually cut it, obviously depending on what it's like. But that's kind of what I'm running with. Short in resistance, and then obviously if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I think, yeah, hence why I've got a pretty tight stop up here. And again, this is not financial advice. Don't follow me in on this trade. But hence why I've got a pretty tight stop up here, because obviously if we do gain acceptance above the early open, particularly above towards 94, I think it will move probably pretty quickly up towards 96, 97, where that big liquidity is next. But anything is possible. Anything is possible from here. Let's have a look at Sui. Sui. Where are you? Sui. Yeah, so Sui moving very, very nice. I missed this initially. So obviously we looked at this, didn't we? Towards the end of November here. And obviously I said, Sui was looking good for long. We caught this move here. But I'll be honest, I actually missed, because of the chaos that was going on Monday. I didn't even look at Sui really. And I actually missed the retest of demand down here. And obviously since then it's just gone bang, laser beam up. I mean, what's this, about 20-30% move? So you get in anywhere there. Yeah, 30% move basically. But I believe Sui got listed on Coinbase, or it's got listed on Coinbase somewhere anyway. So it's had a pretty big listing. And I think Sui, if you zoom out on some of these daily charts, a lot of them have just been completely beat up. I mean, at the moment, that's putting a perfect double bottom on it. That's putting a lovely double bottom. And on the daily, I think basically just all this is just waiting to be taken on the daily on Sui, because it's been so weak. And this would be kind of my point where I think obviously upside would slow down then, and then I'd be looking for some mean reversion from there back down. So obviously, if you're not looking to long Sui, I think for a point in which upside momentum slows down, I'd be looking kind of 210, 215, maybe even up to 220-ish as potential short areas. Again, educational and purposes only, not financial advice on that. Don't go and short it just based on that. Just obviously looking at the chart, to me, that is where supply is. So that's where I would look for it to slow down. But I think everything's looking quite interesting. I mean, Sui's one of them, but you look at Sol. Sol has been capped inside this range, hasn't it? Really tight range since the middle of November. Obviously came down and tested this area again on Monday. And Sol, you can see it's just literally just trading in a range. Now again, who's to say that we don't have some sort of fake out to the downside? I think that's possible. Anything is possible. We could have a fake out to the downside, but I'm not trying to second guess it. If it gets above 145 for a daily close, I think it's looking really good. And obviously my next area of interest would probably be up towards the 170 mark, as drew on this arrow. But I think for a lot of altcoins and Bitcoin itself is the potential for maybe a fake out and a big trap to set something like that. We looked at this pattern quite a lot. And what you want to do is, particularly on things, when you're looking at things for reversals, or definitely in an uptrend as well, patterns like this. So you've got obviously price in a range, and again, this could be judging it for a reversal, or in an uptrend when price starts to consolidate. Price will enter a range, again, whether this is up or down, and then you'll get some range in. And what you'll get is a fake out to the downside, so come and clear out the bottom, and then you'll get recapture of the range, and then really aggressive push up from then on. Now, typically you do see this on uptrend, not so much, obviously. I don't particularly look for it on a downtrend, but definitely we could get something like this across the market before maybe full reversal. Doesn't mean that it's going to come, but it would obviously clear out downside liquidity, set a nice trap, and then mark for a full reversal. But whether we'd be lucky enough to get that or not, I don't know. We may not do, but it's definitely worth knowing that pattern and knowing when to look for that pattern. There's countless times we've looked at that on stream for Bitcoin and ETH and other alts as well, and it's come off, and it's just a really standard pattern. And again, you could flip it upside down and look at it for up. So you can definitely flip it upside down and look at it for when something is in an uptrend, a downtrend, and obviously clears out upside, gets back under, and then continues down. But yeah, we've got just under an hour until US Open. If you do want me to look at anything in particular, do let me know. We have my good friend. I forgot people's first names because YouTube only shows me the username now. So I know your face. I know you have been coming to the streams for a while, but I can't remember people's actual name on YouTube because YouTube only shows me the username now. So obviously your username is coming out as Patatanis, but I can't remember people's first names unless it's obviously in the username, or obviously what you want me to call you. Let me go and have a look at Say. Let's see. I mean, Say is fascinating because, yeah, I mean, you look at that. It actually dropped down, didn't it, on Monday to its lowest level since 2 years ago. You know, dropped to its lowest level since 2 years ago, which is crazy, isn't it? Absolutely crazy. That had such a monster run, didn't it? That had such a monster run at the start of 24. Marios, that's it, yeah, Marios. But yeah, this dropped down to its lowest level since then. But if you actually look back, obviously this is kind of the area, and I think obviously for something like Say, you know, that pattern that we've just discussed is basically potentially in the midst of coming off. You know, you can see obviously we've had price ranging, fake out to the downside. Again, it's not really ranged for that long, so it's not like a picture perfect pattern, but definitely maybe there. And I think, you know, for something on Say, it's not even really that too far from obviously kind of its like all-time lows, is it? So in terms of a high time frame perspective, really, you've got a potential drawdown of maybe like 25-30% before you're like, right, I'm really wrong on this trade. Which obviously, compared to a lot of altcoins, is not that much, because you basically know if Say starts trading below 9.5 cents, then it's in a real danger zone. But at the moment, in terms of a high time frame outlook, you know, you zoom out, is it in kind of a value area where you've got a decent, in terms of a spot perspective, you know, again, on leverage, you would probably, you know, you'd have to probably use 2 to 3x to avoid liquidation if it did drop that low. But in terms of a spot perspective, yeah, you know, you've got kind of like a 25-30% that drawdown before you know this trade is going really wrong. So yeah, risk reward looks decent, I think. And again, I don't really keep up with the chain or whatever, but in terms of the chart, yeah, the risk reward looks pretty good. Zek came in and is actually going to one of the plans so far. If I just make these white, this was from the CSE newsletter yesterday. So Zek is actually currently halting, and did halt in the first region of interest. I had 2 regions of interest, this one and maybe a pullback lower. But what I'd be looking for on Zek from here, and this chart's about to get very messy, but I'd probably be looking for, you know, a pull anywhere into there, into this region here, which would be supply, and I'd be looking for a lower high and then continuation down. I personally think the Zek bubble is burst. Could prove me wrong by going to all-time high again. Well, not all-time high, but new highs. If it went to all-time high, that'd be some move. I think the all-time high is like 3 or 4K, isn't it? Bitcoin's getting a little push up, moving into open. What I'll do, I will get the Rejman. I will look at ETH next, mate. I'll look at ETH next. Yeah, don't worry. I'm just going to get the poll up before I forget. I don't think Nick's in here today to tell me off, is he? I don't think Nick's in here to tell me off. Thank you very much for the likes on the stream as well. Thank you very much for the likes on the stream. It's massively appreciated. But yeah, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go and get my toilet break out the way. I'm going to get my toilet break out the way. So then, yeah, I'll just be here for the rest of the stream now. So I'm going to go and get that out the way now. So I'll be back in a few minutes. Don't go anywhere, and then I'll cover ETH next for Rejman. And then if you want me to cover anything else, of course, let me know in the chat, and I'll move on to them altcoins next. You know, got plenty to cover. We'll look at liquidity next. I'll show you on the heat map exactly what it's cleared out so far, and it'll line up obviously with what we looked at on the chart. We'll cover some news stories, and then it'll be time for US Open. So don't go anywhere. I'll be back in just a few. Right, I'm back. And let me tell you, that was a monster. I think it's because instead of drinking my own instant coffee, I went to the cafe around the corner before and got myself an actual coffee. And obviously, you know, if you drink coffee, you'll know that most of the time you get a point in the day where it will just flush everything through you. So that point in time come for me then. But yeah, I mean, I'm back. Let me just plug my phone on charge. And Bitcoin, yeah, it's just kind of hanging around, innit? What's the poll doing so far? Let's see. So 67% up on the poll so far. Of course, you can change that by voting. Now, let's move on to, hey, it's Bobby. Subi flying, yeah. Even on the 1 hour, to be fair, it's flying, isn't it? It is flying. Let's move on to ETH anyway. So, for my good old Regman. ETH's doing well today, up 3%. Let's see what ETH is maybe telling us. What is ETH telling us? Let's see. So, ETH is actually quite interesting, yeah, because it's actually yet to clear out this liquidity from Friday. And if you actually look, the build-up of liquidity levels on ETH is actually a lot more aggressive than Bitcoin. If you look at these, obviously, really the main point on ETH, if we let's make this white. You know, you could a full liquidity run would be to 3271. That would be like a full liquidity run. Obviously, just come and clear out all these, you know, here. So obviously, the next point of interest, maybe. I mean, to be fair, if we're going to get a bit of games, you may even see like Bitcoin just hold a little bit, and then we get kind of one last final push up on things, and then drop back down. That's if, you know, we're going to continue ranging and maybe go back down. If not, obviously, I think, all this is for the taking on ETH, which, you know, when I say it's a bit more aggressive, because when you look at Bitcoin, you've basically just got similar kind of build up. Bitcoin's already cleared out its local liquidity here, but you've basically just got one run into here, and then, you know, kind of you could easily see it peeling off at 96, 97. Obviously, the top of that is 97.5. But ETH, you know, kind of a lot more aggressive in the build-up. It's a lot more steep. And, you know, just be like bang, 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 done. So full liquidity run would be up to 3271. But, you know, you may not get a full liquidity run. You may just get something like up to 3250 and kind of leave them behind, because we might not be as lucky, you know, to get a full, complete liquidity run. But there is definitely the potential there, you know, if Bitcoin is on board as well, for maybe this squeeze to carry on. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think maybe we're going to stop at resistance here? Or do you think maybe we're going to have one more squeeze up into 96, 97s? I suppose anything is possible from this point on. Anything is possible from this point on. We'll see, obviously, what is... what's the S&P doing? Yeah, so the S&P is quite interesting as well, isn't it? You know, this is kind of just flatlined a bit from Monday. Obviously, the push down on Monday and it's ground up a bit. But yeah, yesterday we didn't really get much of a move on the S&P. Today we've not really had anything. And again, you know, there's only really two regions that you want to watch on the S&P now, which would be this region. And then, of course, you know, the all-time high. And that's really it. So the S&P's not got really that much resistance ahead of it in terms of running to new highs. Bitcoin, of course, has got so much work to do if it wants to do that. But yeah, low time frame. Today should be really interesting because we could get anything. You know, you could get anything out the gates today. Another push higher, or a drop lower. But yeah, I think, you know, Sol's the same. You know, if we look at Sol, and by the way, Stonksy absolutely nailed the run up. It did go green on the hourly as well, but the 5-minute chart got in there well before the 5 minute. And I actually put this in the Discord yesterday. I put it into the Discord yesterday morning before we even got the run up, saying 5-minute charts, double, obviously the double confirmation, looking for a run up. Put that into the Stonksy Discord yesterday. And then, of course, yesterday afternoon coming, we just went bang, 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 bang. But if you look at Sol, very similar as well. Go to the 4-hour to get the kind of bigger picture. You've got, let me just remove these so you can see it properly. Hang on. You've got a huge amount of built up liquidity now here. That just hasn't been cleared out. You've obviously got this high from yesterday. You've then got this here. This hasn't been cleared out. If you look at these never cleared anything out. I think that one's already been cleared out by them too, yeah. I think they're basically equal highs. And then you've got this on to the left. This is just like, you could get like just a swipe up into here to clear it out. Or, you could potentially run to like 160, 170. Maybe into something like here, maybe up to here. Again, if Bitcoin's going to give it. I think if Bitcoin pushes to 96, 97, you could see some really big strength on Sol and ETH for how they're coiling up in terms of escaping the current ranges and then going after upside liquidity. It could get pretty aggressive to the upside if it's going to do it. Alternatively, it could just keep building it. Imagine the upside liquidity built if we stopped here and then dropped back down, maybe come and cleared this out, maybe even cleared that out, depending on what happens, and then kind of went for the big one. Obviously, there'd be so much built up then, yes. So we'll have to see what the market has in store for us. But Sol looking exactly the same, and I think it will be very interesting to see what happens next. But yeah, let's see. Got just over half an hour until US market opens, so not too long. Now, obviously, I've been yapping on there about liquidity, yapping on about the upside, downside, whatever. If you actually come over to the Bitcoin liquidation heat map and you look at it on something a bit larger, let's see the 3-day. So 3-day, it's just been moving between local liquidity up and down. Really, the interesting thing is when you come to the 2-week and you'll see it's exactly carbon copy of what we've just looked at in terms of looking at obviously where Bitcoin's taking liquidity, where it could go next. So as you can see here, we just ran all the way through and you can see just the highly illiquid zone here, can't you? There's not been any big liquidity chunks or anything in this illiquid zone here. You can see it here again. Really illiquid zone. But we come and cleared this out, look at them chunks there. So there is actually another chunk basically at 94. If it wanted to come and clear that high out, it could clear that high out as a liquidity grab. But if you look at it, obviously that is the big liquidity that we just looked at in terms of it being cleared out, is up towards yearly open and just a bit above. Now, if we go to the 1 month, you can see obviously you've just got build up of liquidity all above these lower highs, just all above where we got bounces and then sold into. Obviously on the actual heat map itself, it's got basically 110 marked out as the big level, which I think, that's really where the aggressive selling really started to come in. So that makes perfect sense. But when you actually look at the Bitcoin chart itself, you can just basically see, obviously this has been cleared out, this cleared out so far. But then you can pinpoint exactly where we could go next in terms of the market source and liquidity. And obviously this zone would be next. After that, have a big SR test around 100. But you've got this, and this. And then, of course, you had a big one up towards 110. So I don't know, how long it will take to get there. If we get there or not, 110 seems like an eternity away, doesn't it? But it's definitely possible. But yeah, we'll see what we get anyway. We'll see what we get. Let me know in the chat. Are you kind of... Let me know who's bullish and who's bearish on the market. So basically, let's have bullish being the cycle top is not in, and we're going to go higher into next year. or bearish, the cycle tops in, and you are kind of obviously looking for more downside, maybe a push up to then maybe short back down in terms of looking for like a relief rally, sell into it, drop down lower. So Resman bullish. We've got Scotty saying bullish AF, so Scotty's extra bullish. Let me know in the chat. Are you bullish? Cycle top's not in, and we're going to get higher next year in terms of actual all-time higher. Or are you bearish? And let me know what you think is coming next. If you are bearish, do you think we get a bounce first, maybe towards 100, maybe a little bit higher, and then that gets sold into, and that kind of marks a macro lower high, and then we go lower? Or do you think kind of we're just going to go lower any given day from now on? Because obviously I know you bullish guys. Anyone who's bullish, obviously it won't really matter where price goes. If you believe that obviously we're going higher, then any dip is obviously a gift in terms of loading up more spots or, you know, areas to look for longs. It will be quite interesting. I know I've asked this question before, and obviously there's a lot of people in the chat that have given different views. But yeah, that's where we're up to anyway. In terms of the market, you know, ZEC pushing on back up. Came into the really nice region yesterday. Asta's pushing back up. This dropped back below $1, didn't it? Back below $1. Went all the way actually back down towards 88. Bloody hell, that was low, weren't it? On Monday, 88. So yeah, Asta pushing back up. Pump. Bloody hell, did you see Pump yesterday? Pump absolutely rocketed yesterday. I mean, look at that. That was just basically from late Monday. This pump, quote unquote, pump started, and this just had a rocket up its ass, didn't it? But look where it faded. Look where it faded again, right at my region, right there, right at the stream region. Obviously mapped out on stream. We got faded here, didn't we? Last week, we got faded again here yesterday or today, whenever that was, early morning. So this is kind of the region. Now what we can do is obviously pull this down and, you know, give it like an actual thing. So, you know, in terms of ranging, yeah, you know, Pump's in a range as well. Everything's in a range, relatively anyway. But yeah, Pump mass. I mean, look how many green candles that is on the 4. It's on the 4 hour. That was basically just like, what's that? Almost 2 days, day and a half of just straight green on the 4 hour. Yeah, this had a monster push up. And as did a lot of, you know, actual memes. SPX, again, you know, really good push up. This thing has had a really nice push up from there. You know, Altcoin, we looked at it before, monster strength. It's down today a bit, but overall massively up. Rat's doing well today. Pengu had a great. I mean, look at that. That is literally just basically 2 1-hour candles in it. You know, these are a lot smaller. I mean, the strength on that, massive. Pengu's actually one I'm really interested in. I unfortunately haven't bought any yet. In hindsight, obviously I should have, but I haven't. But yeah, I mean, in general, you know, memes had a great time yesterday. But what are we going to get today? We've got half an hour. We've got half an hour until open. And we're just kind of flatlined, aren't we? We're just flat. Do let me know if you want me to cover anything specific in the chat. Of course, just fire it over. Let's see what we've got on here. Also, I'll tell you what, actually, something I did interesting today was I went and took, this has gone up a little bit more, I think. I think I got this at 7%, so it's come down a little bit. But I actually went and chose no change on the on this for next week, just as basically it's obviously going against the grain and it's got a very small chance. But I do believe we have some data today and tomorrow, I think, which maybe, let's see. But it's just basically a gamble in it. It's just like it's got a very slim chance, and you're just trying to take the contrarian view. Well, let's have a look. Let's leave medium and high on. So today, we've had ADP employment change. Got ISM services in an hour at 3 o'clock. So obviously that's going to be big. Tomorrow then you've got jobless claims. And then on Friday you've got core PC. So this is obviously all moving into next week. And then, of course, if we click next week, we've obviously got the big one on Wednesday, next Wednesday, a week today, FOMC meeting. You've got jolts as well the day before. So you've got jolts the day before. So really big, some really big data coming into it. Oh, I'll tell you what. Oh. Oh, dumpity dumpity dump. Dump. Oh, big dump. Big dump. What's just happened? Don't think we had any data then, did we? Dumpity dumpity dump. No, that was no. Oh. Oh. Nasty. Nasty. Let's see my short. Shorts 31%, 32% plus on P&L. So not doing too badly so far. I'm just going to leave it open. Yeah, so I'm short from just below 93. It's like 92. What is it? Hang on. Oh, no, sorry, it's not. It's 92.831. I thought it was in the 92.9 bit, but it's not. It's 92. Oh, I'll tell you what. Oh, that is aggressive, isn't it? Look at that. Jobs today. Was it? Oh, there's nothing on. There's nothing on. There's nothing on. We had ADP. Got jobless claims tomorrow. There's nothing on here that's even medium or red that I'm seeing that would have caused that in the past couple of minutes. Oh, tell you what, that's aggressive, isn't it? I mean, this is the thing. You know, this is the thing. We kind of just pressed resistance, haven't we, again? And we are now approaching this really big liquid zone. Obviously, not too much there, but if you actually look at it from a liquidity aspect, you've got all these wicks to go. Bloody hell. You've got all these wicks to maybe, just maybe, come and clear up here. You know, look at all them. Like, they're obviously just prime for the taking for stops and liquidity. So, I mean, yeah, I basically just shorted resistance and hoped and looked at it that maybe it would stay resistance. Now, I haven't taken anything off the table yet, but that is quite a hefty 5-minute candle. We must have had something then, actually, because the S&P is nuking. I don't think it's manipulated, Mickey, at all. I don't think that's manipulated move at all. Look at the candle on the S&P. We're literally just following the S&P like Bitcoin obviously often does. Something has nuked the S&P there. Have we got any news? I wouldn't call that manipulation at all. I would just call that it's literally just following the S&P. We've got a big nuke. I've been logged out. Great. Have we had something go off? Has anyone? Let me check Twitter on my phone. I've been logged out on my laptop. What is going on? Has something happened? I don't know. I can't see anything. No, can't see anything. Don't know. Who knows? Now the question is, do I close my short? Do I close my short? That's the question. Oh, it's already pushing back up, isn't it? It's already pushing back up. Do I close my short? I think I'm just gonna put my stop loss at break even. Just gonna put my stop loss at break even and let the market do the rest. I mean, really, we shouldn't come back up here now. If that's obviously a breakdown, we should reject here. So obviously, if we're looking at it in terms of, yeah, I think that's literally just come from inside the market. To be honest, I don't think there was actually any news that catalyzed that. That was that came out this morning, and that wouldn't really affect crypto at all. Microsoft also lowered the expectations for the AI. I did see that just then. Yeah, that got published. That got put out just then. So maybe that's it, because obviously, really, the spike down on Bitcoin just come from the S&P. So that's probably it. I mean, if we go and look at Microsoft pre-market now, yeah. So yeah, there you go. That's where it's come from. Microsoft pre-market just nuked, and maybe everything else as well. Yeah, so Nvidia, look at these 5-minute candles. So this is where the dumps just come from. There's always a trace. Nvidia dump, Meta. Look at the dump on Meta. So this is where the dump on Bitcoin has come from. It's not any manipulation or whatever. It's literally the fact that a lot of the Mag 7 have just took nukes over the past 5-10 minutes. And obviously that's reflecting into the S&P, which is then obviously reflecting into Bitcoin. So we could get a very aggressive sell-off on open potentially. Depends obviously what the market is feeling now. Obviously AI is the big buzzword in it. AI is the big narrative. And if there is anything to kind of affect that steam train, the market doesn't really take too kindly to it. So quite interesting. Yeah. We'll see obviously what comes of it. We've got open in 20 minutes. So I mean, the S&P is just nuking. Look at that. The S&P is nuking. Nuketown. So could potentially get a very aggressive open. Could get potentially a very aggressive open, because yeah, I mean the market hates anything negative towards AI now, doesn't it? Because basically that's all that's propping up the market is AI. That's what's propping up the whole market. Yeah, so we'll see on open anyway. I mean, if this takes a turnaround, then I imagine probably Bitcoin will shoot up like a rocket again. But as it stands, we could come after all this to the downside. Let's go and see what's going on. Yeah, so obviously this down 2%. Amazon down 0.5%. Tesla's actually up a little bit pre-market. Tesla got a push up. Google down almost 0.5%. Nvidia down just over 0.5%. Yeah. Yeah, so maybe Bitcoin's going to lodge a recovery from here. I mean, really, this would be the place to reject. If we do push back up, this would obviously be the region for rejection, low time frame, because as you can see, low time frame, this is where we held as support. So it's quite clear that, this will be low time frame line in the sand for where we go today. I would estimate. You reclaim obviously low time frame support here. Maybe go and test this up here. If we reject, then maybe carry on back down. Yeah, we'll see what we get anyway, won't we? We'll see what we get. Let me do a little adjustment there. There we go. Yeah, so we'll see what we get. I mean, that's quite clear now. That's set the motion for what happens today. see if we get a wipeout on the S&P or if we get a recovery. But I think that was definitely it. It was this Microsoft news. Steadily climbing back up now. Steadily climbing back up. That could just be a clearance and a wipeout, couldn't it? For maybe going higher. I mean, we still don't have any 5-minute color background, so I do have an alert on for a red one, but obviously it hasn't triggered yet. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. It'll be interesting to see what happens if we test this area here. But no doubt that probably just wiped out a lot of longs that got in late. That's why you don't want to long at resistance. You know, it's a really good advertisement for why you do not want to long the top of a move and why you don't want to long at resistance. Because at some point, something will happen to make you get stopped or liquidated. Yeah, so what are these doing pre-market? MSTR up just under 1%. Coinbase up 1.6. Obviously, these are took downturns as well, thanks to that Bitcoin move. I mean, it's setting up to be a fascinating open now. It's setting up to be a fascinating open after that move. Are we going to spill the blood? Interesting. Very interesting. I mean, what would be wild? Can you imagine a scenario where we just completely just run through that area again so quickly? Like, can you imagine a scenario that this just nukes through this region again? This bigger liquid region here. That would be pretty gnarly, wouldn't it? I just want US Open to come now. Now that we've had that, I just want it. I want it to hurry up and come. So the S&P, I mean, one of two things. This is either bait, and then we'll just open and it'll just eat it up, or maybe dump it first and then eat it up, or this is maybe going to shake the market a bit and cause some sell-off today. Because yeah, I mean, the market is so sensitive to anything negative AI, isn't it? Dump, then pump, wiping over lev longs on open. Maybe, yeah. Definitely possible, mate. Definitely possible. Yeah, to be honest, you know, till I actually saw that at the top of my screen, I forgot that I'd even took this today as well. But yeah, I have took the contrarian view of no change. I mean, at the moment, the market is pricing in only a 25 basis point cut. But yeah, I decided to just have a little bit of exposure to a no change scenario. Let's see what we get anyway. I mean, the thing is, even here, like there's no real, in my opinion anyway, of course, not financial advice, but in my opinion, there's just very minimal risk reward for jumping into a long here. Like, I think you're just kind of asking for it, because we're basically at resistance until we break this resistance and obviously claim it as support or just claim acceptance above it. you're basically just longing very close to resistance. So like, what would be the actual risk reward in terms of just longing this dump here, unless you're long from lower down and you're obviously just riding that? In my opinion, the risk reward for new longs here just isn't there. I mean, you're just kind of asking for it, aren't you? You're longing the top of a move and resistance until, we obviously break above, hold above, and start to move up. I have tightened up my stop though very, very much. So basically the point, the top of this 93.2, I've moved my stop down to, so my exposure is very small now to getting stopped. And it's maybe a high possibility on open that it just rips higher. But my my exposure to the short now has been moved down from there, because if we come up back into here, then I'm not really interested, because we're probably going to pop up higher then. I mean, look at it now, yeah. Want to keep an eye on this. Keep an eye on this region now. Keep an eye on this, because this will then dictate what's going to happen next. Because if we gain acceptance back above here, then we're probably going to come for the upside liquidity, I would think, anyway. What's this? But yeah, we're now in that region of SR test. Obviously, low time frame SR test. This just kind of region here. If you can't really see it, I'll just highlight it a bit more. It's basically just looking at anywhere in and around here. We'll be obviously testing SR from what we used as support overnight and obviously this morning. Obviously reclaim that, and it's looking a lot better. I think the S&P is pushing back up now as well by the looks of it. Yeah. So Bitcoin's very, very sensitive both ways to the S&P recently. Obviously yesterday and today, it seems that it's obviously hypersensitive to it, to the upside as well, not just the downside. But yeah, let's see what we get here. I mean, we could, if you forget that this is the 5-minute chart, we're basically just doing an underside retest of the range now, aren't we? So let's see if we can push back through and this becomes just a wipeout, and we reclaim this and maybe target the highs, or if we're going to reject from the underside. I am going to have to close the poll now, though. If it loads. So up 63% of you folks think that we're going up on open. Are you going to be right? What's going on here? Tell you what, would have been wild. Would be watching the liquidation data live on that dump. Can you imagine it? It would have just been non-stop, just longs liquidated. A bit like yesterday with shorts being liquidated. So at the moment, I would probably say at the moment, we've underside rejected. Again, we're on a very low time frame, so this could easily just pop back up on open. But I think at the moment, I would probably say that we've underside rejected for now, anyway. But let's see what we get on this. I mean, this is the key driver for today. You may as well just, if you're gonna look at Bitcoin, you need to be looking at the S&P as well, because that's going to be our main driver for where we go. And let me get this up. Let me pull this down to the 5-minute chart. Let's see. So this is coiling up maybe for a push back up on open, perhaps. Futures red, yeah. Futures have gone red. The Nasdaq's pummeling. Look at that, 0.6% down. Got 9 minutes to go on open as well. Let's see what we get. I mean, it's not a small bit of news that got delivered. Then that is like that is a key thing. The fact that they've lowered AI sales forecast. It's not a small bit of news, but we know this market. I mean, basically every single bit of bad news that we've had in this market has ended up getting eaten up, hasn't it? In the end, no matter how long it's taken, because we're like 2% away from all-time highs on the S&P. So it has been eating bad news up constantly. But particularly when it comes to AI, so sensitive, so sensitive for anything negative against AI. Just shows you, obviously, it's AI that's propping up the market, and obviously the key thing that people are measuring for bullish or bearish. But yeah, I'm keen to see what happens here. I mean, yeah, at the moment, I mean, I drew this out, didn't I? With 10, 15 minutes to spare. This. And at the moment, you'd say that we've rejected from the underside. So the key thing is to reclaim it, to then open up the route to the upside. AI is the antichrist. Mate, the market is obsessed. The market is obsessed. I mean, if anything is going to take down this market, it's going to be AI in it. That's really. I mean, you can go on about the US debt and all sorts like that, but I think really the only thing that could possibly take this market down is AI. I think really the market just doesn't really care about anything else, when it comes to US debt or whatever. Rising inflation is actually probably something I would put with that as well. They'd probably be my two things. Oh, you got all this with Japan as well, but could end up focusing on too many factors. Space Cat, how are we doing, mate? Sorry I'm late. What's going on with AI? Microsoft lowered its expectations for AI sales, which kind of just shook the market a little bit. Kind of gave the market a bit of a shake. Yeah. So we'll see what happens. Again, we could get anything, couldn't we? Got 6 minutes to go until open. Could get anything from this point onwards. Literally anything. Uh, 40% of S&P is likely. AI too. You keep putting IA. I don't know if you notice or not. You keep putting IA. Yeah. I mean, there was actually a day. I think it was about 2 weeks ago. It was sometime within recent weeks where literally almost all stocks. It was something mad, like 80% or 90% of stocks in the S&P 500 were red, but the actual index was up because Mag 7 stocks were up, which just shows you obviously the concentration and really where the index is just, it's really interesting, isn't it? Because you can literally just pinpoint down things. So for instance, Bitcoin from here on out, where could we go today could be largely driven by what happens to the S&P throughout today's session. The S&P then is obviously, you look at the S&P and you go, well, really, the only thing that matters in the S&P is the Mag 7 stocks, and particularly, really those tied to AI. So, Nvidia, Microsoft, Google. So you can really shave things down to the point where you could actually just start to look at a handful of things where you go, right, well, these are really the only thing that matters in the market. So that's all I'm going to look at in terms of relative to where obviously we could move and trade. Why is that done that now? Zoomed in on me. Right before open too. Right before open, how annoying. So yeah, let's see what we get anyway. We got 4 minutes to go. And yeah, it could get quite spicy. It could get quite spicy, depending on if we reclaim this low time frame SR or not. I mean, the S&P is pushing up now. The S&P is pushing back up. I mean, the market could just swallow it up, couldn't it? The market could just swallow that news up. It's swallowed up all previous bad news, hasn't it? You know, basically every single piece of bad news that we've had this year, the market's just swallowed up straight away. We actually go and look at obviously the main culprit for it as well. I won't actually, because we'll leave it for open. Yeah, let's see. I mean, this could be quite a spicy open. So, also, if you missed it, the move up yesterday was actually just driven by in-house crypto. Wasn't driven by. Well, so there's me. Don't tell me it's going to do this stupid thing again. Oh, it always does this. Hang on. Only $50 million. So in terms of obviously Bitcoin and ETFs, you know, basically just nothing. You know, it's like a grain of sand on a beach, in it. So the move yesterday actually came from just purely inside crypto. You know, just purely inside crypto demand. You know, exchanges, market makers, whatever. But that push up yesterday was just fully crypto demand, not ETF, not TradFi demand at all, which is interesting. Yeah, what are we going to get next? Come on, Bitcoin. What are you giving us next? Let's see. Are we going to get like a reclaim of this to then head on up? We're going to have maybe another test, maybe another rejection. Let's see. Got 1 minute to go. Under 1 minute to go. Should be fascinating either way. I mean, what is the S&P going to do? What is the market going to do? The poll vote was up. So the poll vote was up. So let's see. And we've got 20 seconds. That move that ruined my short. I'm a really terrible trader. Mate, don't put yourself down at all. Don't put yourself down. I don't really think there was probably a lot of people because Monday was so bad and Monday was like such a like a washout on it. I don't think there was many people that would have said, you know, come Tuesday night, we'll be fully retraced and all the way back up. We're open. So there you go, we're open. So yeah, and also what I'll show you, Space Cat, is basically just a visual of what is actually going on with Bitcoin in the market, because there's actually quite an emerging point on the Bitcoin chart where price is traveling very fast with basically minimal price action within it. So basically, as soon as we enter that zone, and for now, we can basically say, you can see the start of it here, goes all the way down to 88k. We can basically say price may just move very fast within it. It's a very illiquid zone on the Bitcoin chart at the moment. Currently, S&P fairly flat. Bitcoin, little push down on open, nothing major. But the S&P seemingly eating that bad news on open anyway. Eating that bad news on open. and it's pushing a lot of the way back up. Of course, Bitcoin had already retraced, a lot of that downside move there. Yeah. I mean, what are we going to get here? Remember, it is the first couple minutes, so it doesn't really set the tone for the session, does it? Doesn't really set the tone for the session. So what have we got? So yeah, Microsoft is down 2.4%, Nvidia down nearly 1%, Meta down over 0.5%, Amazon down 1%. Tesla's actually up. But I mean, yeah, open so far, I wouldn't say it's been bad at all. Fairly stable. Fairly stable open. Yeah, the S&P actually starting to recover now. It's getting bought up. So it's starting to move now on obviously the actual sell-off candle, which was this one. This is where obviously sell-off originated from. Bitcoin just got it all out the way in one candle instead of two. I mean, for now, yeah, Bitcoin's just, as you can see, this area, key, low time frame. If we reclaim this, kind of 92.7, we reclaim that, then obviously, logically, you would think that we'd then come for the upside. But at the moment, obviously, that is low time frame SR. But let me show you this space cat. So obviously, this is what you're working with, and this is what we're working with at the moment. So if you actually look on the Bitcoin chart now, zoomed out, you can see Bitcoin is moving very liquidly through 88 towards kind of 90 and a half-ish. So you can see, obviously, this really started here. So it came down, tested this area on these two bits, and there wasn't, obviously, it was holding there. But then from this point onwards, we just started moving through this area very fast and very liquid. As you can see, most of the times it's done it in 1 to 2 4-hour candles, with most of the time it being just 1 4-hour candle where a lot of the move has been in. So you can see, obviously, just this area is somewhere where Bitcoin is just moving very, very fast through and not really putting in much price action at all. The price action is going on above and below it. So that's quite interesting. And obviously something to watch out for, because, in the scenario that obviously we carry on dropping down and reach this point, is that going to be, we could hold here. You can see, obviously, we held all here, didn't we, through last week. We actually tested it again yesterday. You can see the tests here in this region on these candles. But could we just completely just nuke through this region again? Or has that kind of been rinsed now by the market? Ooh. Yeah, still waiting for the next Stonksy 5-minute background. Still waiting for that. Delta feels Space Cat's pain. What have you been doing, Delta? Hey, what have you been doing, you naughty boy? So, the S&P actually, yeah, pushing back up. The S&P is pushing back up. Bitcoin just hanging around. We're still only within the first 5 minutes, so yeah, still only within the first 5 minutes. But what have you been doing, Delta? Hey, what have you been doing? The Delta fella. The Delta fella. Yeah, it's pushing back up now. I mean, the S&P just yet again kind of brushed off. Bad news, just brushed it off. And it's pushing back up. Not really affected it much at all. Obviously, in terms of altcoins, these got look at the cascade on the 5-minute chart there. ETH, Sol, obviously reflecting in the rest of them. But yeah, it should be quite interesting what happens from here on out. In terms of Bitcoin, really, I mean, it's got every chance now to push back up because the S&P is pushing back up. It just doesn't care, does it? It literally just doesn't care. It seems that way anyway. Seems like it just doesn't care. Bitcoin obviously approaching now the SR area, low time frame SR. So let's see. Maybe it wants higher. I've been loitering with intent. Listening while working. Nothing exciting. Well, we are pushing back up now. We're pushing back up. Yeah. So I remain in my short position. So I'll actually show you again. It's not obviously, it's obviously not financial advice because it's gone. But I was actually short from not even that great of an entry, really, relative to the low time frame movement. It was like there. So there's my entry, and my stop loss was up at a 96.4, but I've actually dragged that down to 93.3 now. So there's my start. But if we reclaim this SR zone now, then I'll probably just cut it and just get out. Because it's took downside liquidity, so the chances are it'll probably go after upside liquidity next. So it's just moving back through now. So probably momentarily I'll maybe look to cut my position. I should have cut it down. I was thinking about cutting it down there as well, because normally obviously we know news pumps retrace. I mean, this is going to be the fight now on this 5-minute candle. Are we going to reclaim this low time frame SR? It's looking like we are. It's looking like we are. Do make sure if you haven't dropped a like on the stream, please do make sure you drop a like. Got 20 likes, which is really good. Thank you very much. Okay, yeah, so closure on this 5-minute candle now actually doesn't see us reclaim it yet. But again, this is the 5-minute chart we're talking about. We're just moving back through it now again. Yeah, we're pushing back up. I mean, likely it is. I'll probably end up getting taken out now, but yeah, I should have closed it. I was thinking about closing it down there as well because it was a news dump, but I did actually think, maybe we'll actually see some selling on US Open, given that the market's obsessed with AI. But doesn't seem to be that way. Yeah, if anything, it's going higher. Let's see. I mean, for anyone obviously long from towards the bottom or, long from anywhere, I think this is obviously pretty good news because it's shown that there is actual demand and strength in Bitcoin in the market, because this is now obviously really starting to push hard. Yeah, I should have closed it down there. I thought I should have. But yeah, so this is about to take me out. So what we should do now, in theory, is we've gone after downside. You should actually go after upside now, if obviously the market is correct. Upside liquidity should be next. So Yeah, it should actually go after upside next now. And of course, if we get above here, then we should be moving into kind of 96, 97 territory, really. That would be kind of where would make sense from here. But, kind of the market's showed its hand now. It's dumped down and it's recovered very well. I mean, the S&P hasn't even recovered its dump. Look, the S&P hasn't recovered its dump, but Bitcoin has. So, where does that leave? Where does that leave Bitcoin? It leaves it in a strong position. Yeah. I mean, this is what I was talking about, weren't I? Saying, you could get some big moves on ETH, Sol. Definitely. You could get some big moves on them. Yeah, I should have closed it. I don't know why I didn't. Close it. Yeah, so we should go after upside now. That should be next. I should have closed it when we were down there. I was thinking about it down there as well. I didn't. Oh well, there we go. At least I saved myself from getting took out up here. But yeah, we should be going up now. So obviously, if the market's, we've took out downside, market's recovered, so it's shown that there's good strength in Bitcoin. Really, what should be next is 96, 97 area. Yeah, I mean, look at that 1 hour candle there. Look at that 1 hour candle. That is the sign of selling absorption, strong buyers coming in. That is a really nice 1 hour candle. And yeah, honestly, like Sol and ETH look ready to explode if Bitcoin can even just push to 96, 97. I mean, yeah, look at ETH now moving. Should move up to here pretty quickly, 3,250-ish. If not, 3,250, even higher, up towards where was it? Hang on. We go to the 4 hour. Where are we looking? Yeah, this would obviously be would be nice for liquidity reasons. 3,273, and then if you move through that, you're basically back up towards 3,500, 3,600. It could move through all this very quickly if as long as Bitcoin strength remains. But I think looking at it, it looks like obviously Bitcoin maybe wants 96, 97. Unless it's going to just slam into here again and reject. Yeah, come on, Reggie, man. Come on. I'm rooting for you, mate. I'm rooting for you. We've just slammed the yearly open again. I think it's at some point this should pop. This at some point that should pop. Because it keeps banging its head, doesn't it? It keeps banging its head on the yearly open. You would think at some point it'll pop. I'm annoyed with myself that I didn't close my short when it was down there. I had the feeling that I should have as well. Oh, we're tumbling back down now. I was just about to open another short as well, and I've been kind of beat to it by the market. No! Oh, I should have done it when we banged our head on the early open. Give me one more squeeze up. I wanted to try it again while we're still banging our head on it. I'd be lending Elon money. Would you, mate? Yeah. That's annoying. That I should have took the entry up here when we was up there. If we go and dump from here now, I'm gonna be mad because I've missed now the chance to reshort it from up here. Come on, just give a little push back up. Give a little push back up so I can try and re-enter. Oh, honestly, why did I not do it then when it was at 93.5? It's come and cleared out all this here now. Obviously, just not taking that up there. Oh, that's such an annoyance. Obviously, good for anyone long and strong. Oh, no. That's so annoying. That is so annoying. Actually, I don't know what I was doing then. Why was I not paying attention? Should have been paying attention. That would have been good risk reward there. As soon as it banged off the early open, obviously easy, nice, simple stop above the high there. Oh, are you joking? That is fully retraced now. Nah, the markets haven't just playing now. That is just complete nonsense. That is just complete nonsense. Come on, push it back up a bit. Push it back up. I mean, what else is going on? I mean, yeah, I think things are just being took through the ringer, aren't they, at the moment? I mean, yeah, look at that. The thing is, ETH and Sol and other majors, they're really just waiting for Bitcoin to... I mean, look at Link. We know we love Link on this channel. We love Link on this channel. Look at that on Stonksy. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. From $12. From $12 on the 5-minute chart on Link. Bang, there we go. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I'm annoyed I didn't just reshort it as soon as we banged our head up there. It's looking like it wants to push back up, doesn't it? But let's see. Trying to plan my thing, yeah, perfectly. I don't really want to get caught by it again. I'll just put it down for a sec. Yeah, let me know in the chat. I mean, what you guys feel after that. We've had a bit of a whipsaw, haven't we? We've had a bit of whipsaw action, just up, down, up, down. Quite a bit of whipsaw. Quite a bit of whipsawing. I'm just kind of feeling the market. I don't know. Still waiting for 5 minutes to give more clarity. Let's see what happens from here on out. I mean, yeah, on open, yeah, the S&P is not really doing it. I mean, that's kind of bounced up a bit. Big selling absorption there, and then kind of rolling over now. Oh yeah, Bitcoin now motoring back down. I can't believe I missed a chance to short that up there. I don't know why did I not pull the trigger there? I have reshorted. Like I got like 93 point. What did I get then? 92 800. So a worse entry than before. I didn't even have to take a loss really. If I would have just left it alone with my stop up there, I wouldn't have even took a loss on that trade then. I would have just still been in my active trade, which is annoying, but yeah, there we go. Should have pinged it there. That was a killer entry, weren't it? That was a killer entry. Let's see what happens from here on out. So the S&P now is starting to continue down, kind of a bounce on open, and then now we're kind of rolling over, aren't we? Which is obviously being reflected in the Bitcoin price. So it should be quite interesting what we get for the rest of the day. I think make sure you do drop a like on the stream if you haven't. If you're new, subscribe as well. And of course, if you're looking for anywhere to trade today, first link in the description takes you to BLOFIN. It is a non-KYC exchange, and obviously we are partnered with it at Stonksy. But yeah, I mean, very interesting. Very interesting. I'm gutted I never pulled the trigger up there. That's going to annoy me for the rest of the day now. I was kind of in the clouds on that candle because it had pushed up so aggressively on open. I was kind of just caught like a rabbit in the headlights, not actually thinking, oh, we just hit yearly open and rejected again. I should probably short this. I think we're really just going. I mean, we're just really just being directed by this, aren't we? We're just being directed by this. I mean, that is going to be it. You know, hypersensitive to S&P direction. Where really, when you actually think about it, we should either blast through. We should either blast through here and carry on up, or we should roll over because we've been rejecting from resistance again. Really, we're not doing anything, are we? We're just ranging. So it's baiting one side. It's either baiting longs or shorts. We obviously just won't know until the move happens. But one side is being baited here because we're right under resistance and we are just ranging for the time being. So one side is being baited. It's just a question of who is being baited at the moment. That is obviously the question. Yes, Steve-O, how are we doing, my good friend? Great to see you. Howdy, howdy. Yeah, mate, we're just admiring what Bitcoin is doing. Just kind of waiting for the next direction. I mean, this is obviously key SR here. Currently testing it for support again. I think if we lose this again, then obviously we should then continue lower. For while we're holding it, the option to go higher remains there for sure. The S&P just seems very undecided about where it's going to go next. Seems very undecided. And Bitcoin is just hypersensitive to either direction, for which the S&P is taking now. But yeah, let's see. It's desperately trying to hold on to this region, isn't it? I mean, low time frame, this is the SR zone. So it's understandable why it's currently being propped up there. But how are you doing, Steve-O? What's good, mate? What's cracking? We do. Oh, I tell you what, we've actually got ISM coming in now. Well, not now, but we've got ISM coming in 3 minutes. ISM services PMI. How much volatility we'll get from this, we'll obviously see in a minute. But yeah, we'll stay on obviously for this piece of data to see what happens to the market. But yeah, this should be quite interesting in a couple minutes. Are we going to get upside, downside, sideways, upside down? Who knows? But it should be fascinating. And what's happened here? Yeah, so make sure you I mean, I'll be honest, off the top of my head, I mean, we watch these data releases on stream every month, don't we? And off the top of my head, I can't remember what volatility we normally get from ISM services PMI. I can't remember. Not much, mate. Just watching the market dropping a load. It's not dropped that much. It's not dropped that much, I don't think. Not yet, anyway. You know, there's a potential for it to get quite nasty today, isn't there? Depending on what happens. It's a very good day yesterday. Very good day. So yeah, just over a minute to go until this data. How much impact it will have, we'll obviously see. It might not have any impact. It might have a little bit, but yeah, Bitcoin is at a very interesting point in terms of pivot point wise. I'm going to be looking at this chart all day and thinking, why did I not short that when it was there? Why did I not short it as soon as it pinged off the yearly open and rejected and closed that candle? Should have hit short and got a much better entry. I've jumped into a short again, but a tight stop loss. Again, not financial advice. Nothing on this stream is financial advice. So you obviously should never take it as that. But yeah. Kind of pushing down now. And we've got 15 seconds to go. So let's see. Let's see what's going to happen. We're pushing a bit further down now. Is that reflected in the S&P? Not really. The S&P is kind of steady. So, and bang, there we go. No real reaction. The S&P is pushing up. The S&P is pushing up. Yeah. For the time being, I mean, obviously yesterday was great because Bitcoin just went and done its own thing, didn't it? Bitcoin just went and done its own thing. It was just obviously ripping. TradFi done hardly anything yesterday. It was just kind of flat. And Bitcoin just went on an absolute tear. But definitely today, it's basically the Bitcoin S&P 500 index for mirroring the price action. So we'll see. I'm going to set a couple of alerts just to tell me if we start going back up in case I miss it. But yeah, thank you very much for joining me today. It's a pleasure to obviously stream for you people. If you are new to the channel, make sure, of course, drop a like, subscribe. you can sign up to BLOFIN, link in the description. Of course, you can join Stonksy as well. I need to take that thing off, actually, the description about the Black Friday deal. Obviously, Black Friday deal is over. But yeah, thank you very much for joining. Of course, I'll be back now on Friday for Friday's stream. And until then, have a great rest of your day. Enjoy whatever it is you're doing, and let's keep an eye on the market. But yeah, catch you all on Friday. Bye for now.